If you look like this, brown eyes, brown hair, medium toned skin, then this video is for you. The right makeup colors can make your features absolutely pop. With the right shades, you'll look healthy and glowy, but if you use the wrong tones, you could end up looking tired, washed out, or just unbalanced. Something is going to feel off, and you're not gonna know what it is. Today, we're figuring it all out. Okay, I'm breaking it all down for you brown-eyed brunettes. Eyeshadow, lipstick, and blush. I'll show you the colors that are guaranteed to bring out your natural beauty so you can elevate your personal style and feel absolutely amazing along the way. Let's go. Let's get started with eyeshadow. Brown-eyed girls are quite lucky because our eyes are super versatile, right? Brown is a neutral tone, so almost any color can work with it, but here are the shades that really make our eyes sparkle and stand out. When I was researching online, I found this really handy color wheel. So we're gonna pop it up and we're gonna use it to break our eyeshadow down into two categories. We have the complementary colors that are very harmonious, and then we have the intensifying colors that bring our eyes forward. Okay, intensifying brings attention, complementary feels very harmonious. So let's start with the complementary colors, which are shown here in the inner part of that color wheel. So the first set of colors I want to talk about are warm browns. Okay, when I say warm browns, I'm talking golds, bronzes, coppers. They are going to be chef's kiss, okay? And that is because these tones, right, in these colors really highlight the natural warmth of brown eyes and hair, and they add like a sultry glow. They're very balanced. They feel very balanced when you put them on. So in order for you guys to be able to get a visual of this very clearly, I decided to Photoshop each look on two different faces. So I'm gonna be using a young face for every single color family I talk about, but I'm also gonna be showing that exact same thing on a mature face so that everyone who's watching kind of feels like they're getting value from this video. So I'm gonna demonstrate how this looks on Selma Hayek, who is 58 years old, and on Emily Ratajkowski, who is 33 years old. So let's start with Emily. Okay, so here is Emily's face that I found online. She has makeup on, but very little makeup on, right? And here I Photoshopped a warm brown, kind of smoky eye on her. Pretty much what I have on today-ish. And you guys can see she looks beautiful in the before, but her eyes pop in the after. Do you see that? You can really see how much attention is brought to her eyes when we use those warm browns on the lid and underneath, and we just added kind of definition. Now it looks extra amazing because it's so harmonious and it's so balanced. Nothing about this screams makeup, but it just looks beautiful. Now if you see this on Selma Hayek, here she is with very natural makeup on. Here she is with that exact same smoky eye. So I use the exact same colors in the program on the exact same areas of the eyes. And again, it looks gorgeous on her, doesn't it? You can really see how the skin tone, you know, the eye color, it just works and it doesn't scream makeup. It just looks beautiful. It's very balanced. It's very complementary, as the color wheel would put it. So as you can see from these various examples that I'm popping up now, this really is a very beautiful way to do your eye makeup if you have this coloring. This really is the #1 way that I see brown eye girls wear their eye makeup. And the funny thing about this is that clients with brown eyes will always request this, and they'll request it as their natural makeup. They'll show me a photo and they'll say, I want this, I want to look really natural. But there is a very big difference between neutral and natural, okay? This is not natural. These examples that I'm showing you, they're not natural makeup looks at all. They're just neutral. The colors are neutral. The colors are complementary to your coloring, so it feels natural, like it's not screaming makeup, but it's not natural, it's just neutral. With that said though, these types of looks, they can be really sheared out. You can go in with a really light hand. You can apply very little product, which is what natural means. And you can do these colors in a natural way for a daytime look, but you can definitely go full on glam, contour, highlight, lashes, smoking out, all of that. You can really intensify this color family for an ultra smoky, ultra glam, red carpet look 100%. Just because it's neutral doesn't mean it's natural. You should take a shot every time I say that on this channel. Let's move on to something else that's a little more oomph, and that is intensifying colors. So intensifying colors will bring the brown out in a very different way. It doesn't feel as natural as you guys would call it, right? It's not neutral anymore. They're going to be intensifiers. So the first one I want to talk about are plums and purples. A lot of green-eyed girls request purple. A lot of makeup artists will grab their plums and purples as soon as they see a green-eyed girl, and that's because it really amplifies it. Colors that are directly opposite each other on the color wheel will amplify, will bring a lot of attention, will make something really stand out, right? So that's why purple is often used with green. However, with that said, if you move over into the blue side of purple, you know, the bluish purples, you are directly across from orange and yellow, which is what makes up the color brown. So because of that, I find that shades like amethyst, eggplant, a deep mauve, or even a plum look very, very, very nice on brown eyes as well. Okay, so here we have Emily. Do you see that? Her eyes, they look beautiful. Now this looks more made up than the other one because it's a fashion color. You know, it's not a neutral, but it still looks balanced. It's still really wearable and beautiful. If you see it here on Selma, it also looks really nice. Now, depending on the tone of purple that you use, you can make it more of like a fashion color where it's really bold and dramatic, or you can go deeper and more saturated and make it look more like a neutral-ish smoky eye. Right? When you go into the plums that are more saturated with color, they're a little bit deeper, you start going more into almost like a neutral family as opposed to like a poppy or bright family. But regardless of that, if you look at all of these examples, if you want to go really bright, you can go really bright and have it look incredible. If you're the type of person that wants to experiment with color, but you don't maybe have as much makeup experience, or you're worried that we're gonna look ridiculous, what I recommend is buying one of these fashion colors in an eyeliner instead of an eyeshadow, because you don't have to do your entire lid, you know, smoke it out with this color. You can just use it as an eyeliner. For example, in this picture, she just used it as a underliner, like underneath the eye, and it looks amazing. It's just like a pop of color, and then she used the neutrals on the top. So you can definitely do that with fashion colors as well. I wanna mention one more thing before we move on, okay? If we go back to that kind of purple leaning towards the blue category that's more complementary on the color wheel to orange, brown, right? You can see Selena Gomez doing it really well here. So she did a purple smoky eye, but this purple is very blue leaning. Do you see that? So say you've tried purple before and you don't love how it looks on you. For example, I don't actually love how purple looks on my eyes because it brings out the purple under my eyes, because I have a lot of purple under eye circle kind of darkness in that area. I feel like it amplifies that. So when I want to do something that has a pop of color that brings out my brown, I'll take purple, but I'll take a color that leans more bluish purple than bright purple. I hope that makes sense. Well, that was a perfect segue for the next one. Let's talk about something that you might not expect. Blue eyeshadow for brown eyes. Now hear me out before you immediately leave this video. I know what you're imagining and it's not what you think. Okay, blue tones are actually a hidden gem for brown eyes. And why is that? It's because they create this amazing contrast that really makes your eyes look brighter and way more defined. So like I said before, blue and orange are directly across from each other on the color wheel. They are true complementary colors, and brown is made up of orange. So here is Emily. Doesn't it look beautiful? Honestly, I think this is so pretty. Obviously, it is a statement look. It's kind of a younger, more fun look, but it definitely brings out the brown in her eyes, doesn't it? And then if you see here on Selma, if I'm being 100% honest, I don't love this on her nearly as much as I loved the brown or even the plum smoky eye, but there is no denying that it makes her brown eyes pop. If you take a look through these reference photos that I pulled, you can see how the blue actually makes the brown almost look lighter than it is. It's really bizarre. Actually, Charlotte Tilbury, I believe it's Charlotte Tilbury if I'm not mistaken, they even came out with a line of eyeliners to amplify the color of certain eyes. And the liner made for brown eyes is blue. I actually have it upstairs in my bathroom and I reach for it often. This again can be done in so many ways. You can use it just on the top lid as a wash of color. You can do a full-on smoky eye top and bottom, which is very bold, right? Not everyone would want to do that, which is understandable. You can use it just on the bottom, smoked out, keep the top lid a little bit more neutral, or you can use it as an eyeliner. I love it when people use this as an eyeliner, either just on the top, just on the bottom, or the top and bottom, and blend it out softly. It's beautiful. Honestly, I think it's beautiful. It will make your eyes look so different. It really does. It amplifies them like crazy. All right, the next color that I want to talk about is an earthy color, and that is, of course, green. My ultimate favorite color. Brown eyes often have really subtle flecks of gold, amber, or hazel in them, and green shadows, especially like olive, emerald, or even mossy shades, they bring out those golden tones beautifully. You will see tones that you never even knew you had. Green also is very complementary to brunettes in general with warmer neutral skin tones because it enhances our natural coloring without overpowering it. So that is why it is my personal favorite color. And that's why I wear green in like half my videos. I wear so much green. I have so much green. I own a ton of clothing in green because it's just so flattering. All right, let's go back here to Emily. So you can see here, I photoshopped a green smoky eye on her with a really nice kind of mossy green, and it looks gorgeous. Her eyes totally stand out. But I did something else. I wanted to show you guys something else for those of you who are not as experimental and like all of this is freaking you out. So on the top, I kept it a brown neutral smoky look, right? So just a wash of brown on the top. And then I actually used the green under the waterline like I would if I was actually doing her makeup with an eyeliner. So you can see the difference between picture 1, where it's green all the way around, and picture 2, where it's only green underneath. Picture 2 is more subtle while still adding color and still having fun with your makeup. Do you see that? So I don't want you to leave here thinking that all these crazy colors you have to purchase are going to be overwhelming, because you really just need to buy an eyeliner and then you can start experimenting a little bit, maybe using a really thin line on top or using it on the bottom or smoking it or whatever. Or you can go all the way if you're more experimental with your makeup and you like having fun. Here it is on Salma Hayek. I love it. I think it makes her eyes look gorgeous. And if you look through these examples, again, so many unique ways to wear it. I really like this one where the green is only on the very center of the lid. We have green as an eyeliner underneath the eyes. We have green, you know, on top or super smoked out. There's so many ways to have fun, you guys. Okay, let's move on to lips. Whew, let's move on to lips. So the first lipstick that I want to talk about are red tone lipsticks. Okay, because they look absolutely amazing on brunettes. They really, really do. And the secret lies in the natural contrast that it creates with your features. Brunette hair, especially darker shades, tend to have a richness and a depth that pairs beautifully with the boldness of a red lip. So if you look here at Emily, like, holy smokes, is that not stunning? And then you look here at Salma, the same. There is something so beautifully dramatic, and I don't know, it makes the skin come to life. I think that's the thing with reds that I love so much. It makes our skin color like come out. Like it just brings life to our face and to our skin. If you look here at some of these examples, like, oh, I love this so much. This is one of my favorite makeup looks for brunettes with dark eyes. It is so beautiful. Now, when it comes to reds, there are so many different tones of reds. We can do pink-based reds, orange-based reds, there's blue-based reds. There's a lot of different types of reds, and the red that you choose is actually going to change how your skin looks by a lot. So if you look here at Selma, when I change her red to lots of different shades of reds, you can see how it completely changes the vibe of the makeup, right? Whether you use like a plum or violet based red, or you're here in the blue based or pink based family, it really changes the overall vibe. Something else that changes the vibe isn't only the tone of the red, but also the saturation of the red. So if you use like a violet based red, but it's deeply saturated and it's very dark, it's going to give a very different vibe than if you used a blue base red that's poppy, like MAC Ruby Woo. That's like a totally different vibe. So reds deserve a whole video for themselves because there's a lot going on with that. And I actually just made a video on that for the holiday season that just passed. So if you guys want more information on reds, I'm gonna leave that here in the cards, but I'm also gonna leave it in the pinned comment below. So if you wanna finish watching this video, you can then find it in the pinned comment, head over there and learn all about reds. The next lip I want to talk about is a favorite amongst most people, and that's because it's very easy to wear, and that's the Rosy Nude. Okay, so the Rosy Nude is this. It's a nude lipstick, so it's very, you know, complementary, harmonious balance. It doesn't scream color, but it leans pink. This is the color I wear 99.9% of the time. That's what I have on now. It's almost a little bit mauve, like it's, I never know if I should pronounce it mauve or mauve. I think we say mauve where I'm from, but then I get corrected about that all the time in the comments. So I'm just gonna say mauve because that's how we say it here. These mauvey tones work really well on medium skin tones as well. So you can see it here on Emily, how absolutely stunning it looks. And even here on Selma, it looks so good, right? It just works. You can see here in these example photos how popular it really is. This was my #1 requested lip color amongst my bridal clients. 100%. Another tone that is very easy to wear that's also very popular, the Peachy Nude. Okay, the Peachy Nude, again, so easy to wear. Now, this is very much like the Rosy Nude, but instead of leaning pink, the Peachy Nude leans orange. So you can see here on Emily what a Peachy Nude looks like. It's still nude, it's not orange. It just leans more orange than it leans pink. Okay, and then you can see it here as well on Selma. If you look here at these examples, you can do a Peachy Nude where you lean way more orange and it becomes more of like a sunshiny color, or you can do something that's a lot more neutral, or even here JLo, she went quite nude. So this definitely leans orange over pink, but it's really light, you know, so it looks a lot more nude. Whereas here on Beyonce, she did something a little more like a classic peach. All right, let's move on to blush. There are 2 blushes here, again, that I reach for time and time again when I am working with this color family. Okay, so blushes are actually tricky. And when I was coming up with this video concept idea and doing a lot of research and really thinking about what I pull out for my clients, I was stuck a little bit on blush because blush is largely dependent on what else is going on the face, right? You need to balance the makeup with the blush, but there's also undertone issues. So whether you pull warm or whether you pull cool, because blush is put directly on the skin. So it's typically more of a sheer product, so it works with your undertones. So your skin kind of shines through it. You know, think about it like this. You know how perfume smells different on different people depending on their own like natural smell or their pheromones? Blush is like that too, because if I put blush on myself, it will look different than on you. Lipstick's the same way. I mean, eyeshadow's the same way. But blush I feel like is even more because it really is working with the pigment to create the color, right? So it's a little bit of a tricky thing for me to suggest outright because it's so largely dependent on your skin tones, but it's also so largely dependent on how your makeup is. So if you did a bronzy eye, you're probably gonna reach for a certain blush color over another, as opposed if you did a blue eye, do you know what I'm saying? But without overcomplicating it, which is what I tend to do, I'm just gonna tell you what I use all the freaking time, okay? That's natural and pretty. So there are 2 colors that I use all the time. The first one are deeper pinks and mauve tones again. Okay, so let's pull up a color palette and I will explain. So do you see this color palette? I think this is a paint palette, but whatever. I found it online. So the soft blush, the Coral Dream, that is too light for our skin color, okay? It's probably not even gonna show up, or it's gonna look out of balance. It's gonna be like, that looks strange. I don't love pastels on medium skin tone. If you love them, again, makeup is self-expression, please do you. But I just don't, I find it stands out too much. Whereas if we get into the Muted Rose, Vintage Mauve, Dusty Terra, and even the Warm Clay, depending on how warm your skin is and how deeply saturated it is, those are very nice tones of blushes for this person. So if we pull up Emily here, beautiful, right? And now, this is what I did. So Emily here, this was her face with the rosy nude lip that I photoshopped on. If I was doing a rosy nude lip on Emily as a makeup artist, I would also do a mauve blush because it's harmonious and balanced. Do you see how beautiful this cheek looks with this lip? Because it's the same family. It's the same color family, so it really, really works. If we pull up Selma, again, absolutely beautiful. This color just brings a lot of health and glow to her face, which is just stunning. I wanted to pull up some examples of this so that you could see it on different skin tones. Sometimes this color family is going to be described as like a raspberry or a pink, but as long as it's a little bit deeper, right? You're getting something a little bit deeper, it's gonna work really well. You can see it on all different women with different colorings. It really is so pretty, right? It looks so, so pretty. And here on Kendall Jenner, she wears it again with a rosy nude lip. Rosy nude lip, mauve cheek. You are looking gorgeous. And now keeping with the same theme, the next blush is Peach. Guys, such a staple. I can pretty much put money on the fact that you probably have a peach blush if you're a brunette with brown eyes. So you can see here on Emily, I'm gonna pop up Emily with Peach and then Emily with Mauve. They both look really, really good on her, right? Here, when I did the peach blush, I paired it with that peachy nude lip, because they just go together. If you're feeling like your makeup is off balance, more often than not, it's because the lip and the cheek color are like contrasting. They're not playing well together. So if you're doing a peachy lip, do a peachy cheek. It's really simple. It's so much more simple than you guys think. And then here it is on Selma. Again, gorgeous. And if we look through here at the examples, it's so pretty. It's so sun-kissed. It adds that healthy, glowy gorgeousness. This is really my favorite summer color. I tend to go more in the mauvey tones in the winter, and then when I have a glow in the summer, I'll kind of lean more orange, lean more peach for my lips and my cheeks. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you found this video helpful, then give this video a thumbs up and leave me a comment down below. If I get enough engagement, if I get enough views on this video, then I'm gonna be making an entire playlist with all different coloring combinations to help you guys find your best colors. This video's over.